As the days went by after Laura's betrayal came to light, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of emotions: shock, heartbreak, and an overwhelming sense of being deceived. The timing of it all, just before our planned romantic getaway, only added salt to the wound. What made it even more surreal was the involvement of an old friend of mine who had ended up working in Laura's office. His unexpected message, at first seeming odd, turned out to be a crucial revelation. The truth that Laura had been meeting with her boss, Larry, and the rumors surrounding the nature of those meetings hit me like a punch to the gut. I thanked my friend for revealing this painful reality, and he too expressed his regret for the situation I found myself in. Though I longed to confront Laura right away, I was paralyzed, overwhelmed by a storm of emotions. I didn't know how to begin such a difficult conversation. I chose to act as though everything was normal, to mask the turmoil inside with a calm exterior. Every interaction with Laura felt like walking a tightrope, each moment requiring an immense effort to suppress the internal chaos. The waiting period became an agonizing time of self-reflection, where I was torn between love, anger, and pain, trying to find the right words to confront her, summon the strength for what I knew was coming. It felt like a delicate dance between the raw emotions I was experiencing and the need to keep my composure. The path ahead seemed distant and disheartening as I navigated the unfamiliar territory of a fractured relationship. In my struggle to come to terms with Laura's betrayal, I turned to my father for advice. He suggested I meet with her immediately to sort things out. But, amid my anguish, a darker thought began to take root. I wanted her to feel the same pain I was going through. My father urged me not to give in to that darkness, but his words only seemed to fuel my desire for revenge. I convinced myself that she should experience the same kind of suffering. An idea began to form in my mind. I would let her go on the vacation alone, while I stayed behind to pack my things and disappear. The plan fell into place, and I eagerly awaited the day of departure. At the airport, I insisted on handling the carry-on luggage, which included a suitcase with her personal belongings and money for her. To her, it likely seemed like the thoughtful gesture of a caring husband. When it was time to board, I let her go ahead, telling her I needed to make a call to my mother about the cats. She had no idea that I was watching her from the sidelines as she boarded the plane without me. In the waiting area, my name was called, and I approached the counter, claiming I had missed my flight and arranging for the next one. She was now alone, on her way to her supposed paradise. The rush of adrenaline I felt was intense, a momentary victory in what had previously been a situation where I felt powerless. Back at home, I started packing my things, and as soon as she landed, she called, frantic and alarmed. I reassured her I would catch the next flight and told her to relax until I arrived. Hours passed, and she called again, growing more anxious about my whereabouts. I fed her lie after lie about delays. By the evening, she was in a state of panic, locked in a hotel room, hungry and bored. I promised to send her money for food, urging her to enjoy a meal and take a stroll along the beach. I kept up the charade, assuring her I'd arrive late at night. But the truth was, I wasn't planning on joining her at all. The next day, I kept up the charade, feeding her excuses and sending small amounts of money for food, but nothing more. By noon on the second day, I had packed all my belongings and stopped replying to her calls and texts. This caused her immense distress. Her family, even the police, got involved. They were looking for me at the airport, and they came to our house. I didn't open the door and eventually cut off all communication with her. I know this sounds awful, and I owe my parents an apology for not heeding my father's advice, But I was convinced that Laura needed to feel the weight of the pain she'd caused me. In her frantic search for me, she wasn't in real danger. She had simply found herself in a mess that she had created for herself. The emotional toll of it all felt like a whirlwind. I had never imagined I would resort to such extreme measures to cope with betrayal. When my father suggested calling the police to end the search, I hesitated for a moment, but then I made the call. The officers were professional, but somewhat amused by my situation. They assured me they just needed to confirm my safety. As I packed my car and drove away, leaving the house behind, it felt like a pivotal moment. Laura's sister arrived and was visibly shocked when she saw my packed things. I knew I had to tell her the truth about Laura and Larry. At first, she was furious about the whole vacation mess, but when she saw the pain I was in, her anger shifted. I asked her to give me a moment to break the news to Laura first. Calling her was a mixture of dread and relief. With a carefully rehearsed speech, I told her I knew about the affair, that I had filed for divorce, and that I no longer wanted anything to do with her. I ended the call abruptly, switched off my phone, and walked away, leaving her sobbing and confused. Laura's sister, with tears in her eyes, offered me a hug and an apology before leaving. I can only imagine how devastating that moment was for her. I cut off all communication after that and stayed firm in my decision. It may have been harsh, but I couldn't let her betrayal go unanswered. In a strange way, it felt like poetic justice. She had traded our life together for a fleeting romance, and now she was about to experience real loneliness. But the story didn't end there. I found out that Larry, her boss, was also married. Taking matters into my own hands, I contacted his wife to tell the truth about their affair. This led to their divorce, and Laura even lost his job after I reported the whole situation. As soon as everything settled down, I suddenly got a call. A woman who heard about my unusual reaction contacted me. He was betrayed too, and he invited me for a cup of coffee. We met, shared our stories, and felt an amazing sense of relief that there was someone around who truly understood what we had to go through. Friendship suddenly blossomed on the wreckage of our shattered relationship. Life tends to move in mysterious directions, and although Emma and I supported each other after our divorces, our bond grew stronger. Despite the strange circumstances that brought us together, we found common ground that went far beyond our shared grief. Our friendship has developed into something deeper. It seemed natural, as if it was meant to be. We have become living proof of how strangely the universe works. While Laura was trying to fix her life after losing her job and was forced to return to her parents, I started hearing rumors about her situation. It became clear that the life she had chosen was not at all what she had imagined when she traded our family for a fleeting romance. Her boss has also faced the consequences of his actions. His career has become a shadow of what it once was. As Emma and I grew closer, our friendship turned into love. Despite the caution generated by past betrayals, we decided to take the plunge and go on vacation together. It was during this trip that we both realized that we truly love each other and are ready to start a new chapter in our lives. Fast forward to today. Emma and I are happily married and cherish the second chance we found in each other. As for Laura and her lover, after the divorce, I decided not to dwell on their lives. They made their choice and now have to live with the consequences. The lesson from this is that life can take unexpected turns, and we must be prepared for change and move forward. At times, the pain may seem unbearable, but with time, support, and perhaps some strategic thinking, happiness can be found again. Love can manifest itself in the most unexpected places. Looking back, I'm not sure I would have done it any other way. The path I chose was unusual, but it led me to joy and love. Time will tell what the future holds for us, but for now, Emma and I are determined to build a wonderful life together, and we are grateful for the second chance. Life repeats its cycle in a special way, and sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead to the most desired goals.